Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sabanson, and welcome you guys to another episode of the DREAMERSPRO show. We cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. So, yesterday was a pretty crazy day, to say the least, right? Because everyone on the internet now is essentially reacting to some comments that Gilbert Arenas made about the South Sudanese team, right? As you guys know, they were 43-point underdogs against Team USA, and miraculously, they ended up having this huge lead on the team, and ultimately, it came down to the wire. And had it not been for a late layup by LeBron James to put USA up 1, USA would have lost that game. They would have absolutely lost that game, and it would have been a shocker, right? It would have been a shocker, but ultimately, they ended up winning that game. In the aftermath of that, various people were reacting to it. Some people thought, like people like Brian Windhorst, Tim Legler, and all of these other guys, they thought it was a bad omen, right? They thought it was a bad omen, that this team is clearly not as good as we think they are. Another person said, if LeBron is your best player at this stage, that's not a good sign. Various people weighed in on the issue. And one of the people that weighed in on the issue yesterday as well was Gilbert Arenas, right? Gilbert Arenas weighed in on the situation. As you guys know, Gilbert Arenas, former NBA player, has a very huge, platform on Gil's Arena. He also has his own show as well that he does, No Chill Gil. So Gil has a very big audience. And I want to read some of the comments that he put up yesterday that he said about the team. He said, the males almost lost to some Africans. We almost lost and had to save us. I know the LeBron haters are mad. We almost lost to the IEI tribe. This is crazy. Man, Embiid over there throwing the game for his cousins and bleed. We're not supposed to be losing to them. Come on, man. Cool Runnings. We're not supposed to be losing to some Cool Runnings team. They don't even have shoes. They got shoes from America. They get their shoes from America. We have to ship them shoes. We're losing to people who are shooting on peach baskets in dirt, no shoes. Well, it seems like Rob Parker from The Odd Couple on FS1 got a hold of Gilbert Arenas' comments. And when it came time for him to express his views, he absolutely went ballistic on Gil. So what we would like to do now, we'd like to play exactly what Rob Parker had to say on The Odd Couple yesterday, responding to Gilbert Arenas' comments, and then we're going to come back and react to his comments. Take a listen to what Rob Parker had to say here.
We were on just like 45 minutes after the game. We both excoriated Team USA and had nothing but good things to say about South Sudan. Like, there's ways to do it where you're not belittling the opponent. And especially when you're sitting up you're talking out the left side of your mouth because you got no idea what you're talking about, especially when you consider, like I said, the investment that they've put in to basketball in South Sudan, the NBA talent that they have both on the roster and coaching their roster. It's just factually incorrect, and it's something that there's really no space for in the commentary. And I'm glad to see that people aren't just laughing it off.
100%. And Gilbert Arenas, let's call him ignorant. The words, Martin, are hateful, racist to all Africans. Why in the world would you attack them? What did they do wrong that you would want to chastise them and make fun of their existence and how they've done things? And I don't know, people did research about Gilbert Arenas today, whether it matters or not, because it's just racist. Gilbert Arenas, Martin, is he black?
To my knowledge.
Until you look up his Wikipedia, and it says he's born to 2 Cuban parents. So he's Cuban, which nobody really knew. Not that really matters, but my point is there's no place for this. This is what happens when rich guys have nothing better to do, so they get a podcast and people follow them, and they get on and they think that they're so cute and funny and they can just chastise. They don't have to answer anybody, Martin, right? There's no parent company. So they just say whatever they want. They do a disservice to the people that supposedly they serve, and how people are supposed to look at if you're Gilbert Arenas, and your alma mater wants to invite you to something, Martin, or the NBA wants to. How in the world could Arizona invite Gilbert Arenas to anything? What would you be in inviting him to after those kind of comments? Nothing. Is that really where you want to go? It's mean-spirited. It's hurtful. There's just so many things that are wrong with this. Really? That's your comedy act? That's how you think you want to make fun of the Africans who put on a ball game, Martin, because the U.S. let them stay in the game?
Right.
And you talked about it. They've worked hard. They've had instructions and coaches come over from the United States.
I mean, Royale Ivey coaches the team. That was Kevin Durant's teammate at Texas. Luol Deng is the president of the foundation of South Sudan Basketball Foundation, assistant coach on the team. He played in the NBA for, 15 years?
It's not like they were out there playing in the middle of the continent with no supervision, and they just showed up to play basketball with no shoes on.
It's not like they just walked down the street and picked 15 players. It's like, hey, you guys want to come play basketball?
Hey,
we got a game
tall
today.
Guys over there.
Right.
Hey, why don't you come over here? What? No shoes? Don't worry about it. Really? Is that where we're going? To make fun of African people? It's just plain wrong.
And it's also factually incorrect. Like, it's also not true. Like, that's the other thing. It'd be one thing if he was actually truthful about it, and then you could talk about the delivery and how he was bringing it up. It's just not true. So it's like, not only are you going up there and flatly lying, you're not even doing it funny. It's not even funny.
But why, Martin? You know why?
Because he doesn't have any other research on it.
Right, exactly. If he had done any research before making that, he would know all the facts that you know. You just talked about. But this is how these podcasts, this is my biggest pushback when I talk about a lot of these podcasts that athletes are doing. Hey, get into space, do whatever you want to do. Guys, how many times have you listened to these podcasts? No pushback, no research, nothing. They're just talking. Really? It would have been nice if somebody would have been on the podcast to push back and say, Do you know that they put a lot of money into South Sudan and they got former NBA players who are coaching them? Hey, did you know that? It's not the Cosby kids playing basketball on a Saturday.
Yeah, one of the kids from South Sudan was the G League MVP last year, right? Like, there's several. Wenyen Gabriel played for the Lakers. He got minutes for the Lakers. Ended up getting cut. Got cut by Boston this year. But the point remains, he was in training camp, so they didn't just find him. Right? They're like, no, he knew how to play. He's a good player.
So Gilbert Arenas, after that, I'm sure he's wanted maybe when Amazon gets the contract for the NBA, it'll be on the pre- and post-game show. Is that who you want? Like why? Why go there? Why do that? I just don't understand it. You already know. But I'm telling you, because it's not his job, it's a hobby, and they don't feel that they can be hurt in any way, right, Martin? There's a part of that allows people to do stuff that's just plain wrong.
So you heard what Rob Parker had to say, right? He didn't hold back, and other people out there said even worse. Here's one of the things that I said on the live yesterday when we did the live and we're reacting to it, and why I think that comments like this should not be made, right? Especially from current or former NBA players, and I'm going to tell you why. Basketball is a global sport, right? It's played all over the world. There are people that follow basketball all over the world. It's a global game now. If you think about the biggest names in the sport, for example, if you think about the Michael Jordans, the Kobes, these guys have inspired millions, quite literally, millions of kids around the world to want to be NBA players. And a lot of kids look up to the Michael Jordans. They looked up to the Kobe Bryants. And could you imagine if Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant said what Gilbert Arenas said about the South Sudanese team? Could you imagine the millions of kids that looked up to these guys that they would have discouraged with those comments? They would have discouraged millions of kids all over the world who look up to them, who because of these guys, they became interested in the sport. Can you imagine looking up to, and then this is what they feel about you? This is what they feel about you? I don't even think the NBA would be happy with comments like this, because the NBA is trying to grow its game globally, and they have a lot of initiatives in Africa. They would not be happy about this, in my personal view. So an NBA player should never say this about any group of people, period, because you hurt the game when you say that. You discourage people when you say that, and you shouldn't do that. Sports is something that brings people together. It's not something that tears people apart. Sports has always been known as something that brings people together. Religion, no. Politics, no. Sports, yes. You can have a bunch of people with different religious and political views sit down together in a sporting event and enjoy it all together and be high-fiving. You can't do that in a political event. You can't do that in some religious circles. You can't. Settings. But sports is supposed to be a unifier. And when things like this happen, they must be called out immediately. There are a lot of people that thought that it was okay, and I'm like, no, it's not okay. The only people that heard that thought it was okay are people that it wasn't their group that got insulted. If it was your group that got insulted, you would not be saying that that's okay. You wouldn't be. You know, and a lot of people came for Gil, man. A lot of people came for Gil. And what is the irony in all of this? Some of the people that was spurring Gil on to say, go ahead, Gil, say it, Gil, say it, Gil, you got it, Gil, say it, Gil, don't apologize, don't take it back, go ahead, Gil, tell him how you feel, son, tell him why you mad, son, tell him this, go ahead, Gil. During the live, but some people were like, but Gilbert Arenas is a Cuban. I'm like, Gilbert Arenas ain't Cuban. Gilbert Arenas is black. He's a African-American. They're like, no, he's Cuban. Then Gilbert Arenas dropped a super chat saying, no, I'm Cuban. He said, I'm Cuban, and Cuban and I think black or African-American or something like that. Do you know what immediately came after that? The same people that were cheering on Gil, do you know what came immediately after that? Oh, he's not one of us. Some people were calling him Tether, all of this ridiculous monikers. He's this and he's that. The person they were just cheering on, yeah, Gil, go for it. You got it, man. You got it. 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 Oh, wait, what? Oh, no. Get him up out of here. That's what happened. There's no space for this in sports. I called it out when there were people when Kevin Hart made those comments about, you know, it's a bad look for Nikola Jokic to win the MVP. I said, why? Why? If it was Jason Tatum that was winning, you wouldn't say anything. So why are you saying it about him? It's like, that's wrong. Wrong is wrong, regardless of who says it. That's why I stand on the issue. Rob Parker didn't hold back. What I want to know from you guys, what do you think about what Rob Parker had to say? What do you think about our analysis? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. And oh, by the way, Gilbert Arenas did put up an apology on his community section on his channel called No Gil. So you guys can go read it if you want to check it out. Catch you on the next show. Peace.